The galactic conclave had not trembled in 4 centuries. But today, every ambassador in the Great Hall of Orcs Station stood frozen, staring at the holographic display above the central dais. Senator Dravik of the Keth Empire gripped the edge of his obsidian podium. His 3 eyes blinked in rapid succession, a Keth reflex that only surfaced when the mind encountered something it refused to process. The signal was real. Every scanner in the hall confirmed it. Earth had returned. Impossible, Dravik whispered. Around him, 200 alien delegates murmured in their respective tongues, a cascading storm of disbelief. The human homeworld was consumed by the void collapse 1003 years ago. There were no survivors. The Sol system was a graveyard. We archived it ourselves. Admiral Vess, a tall blue-skinned Rindari woman with silver rank bands on her shoulders, pulled up the raw telemetry on her personal display. She had commanded fleets for 60 years. She trusted data over emotion. And the data, right now, was making her hands shake. It is not a signal, she said quietly. It is the planet. Sol system coordinates. Earth. Atmosphere intact. Biosphere active. She paused. And it is moving. The conclave dispatched a contact fleet, 47 warships, 3 diplomatic cruisers, and a science vessel, under the command of Admiral Vess herself. No empire wanted to send just one representative. No empire wanted to be left behind. They dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system and immediately cut their engines. Earth hung before them in the black, blue, white, impossibly alive. But it was not alone. Surrounding the planet was a lattice of structures so enormous that Vessa's mind initially refused to classify them as construction. They were rings, hundreds of them, layered in concentric orbits, humming with energy signatures that overloaded every sensor array her fleet possessed. Then the communication channel opened. A human voice came through. Calm. American accent. Male. This is Commander James Rourke of the Earth Continuity Authority. We've been watching your approach since you entered the outer system. Welcome back to Sol. A brief pause, the kind that carried weight. We have a lot to discuss. Vess boarded the human station alone, as protocol demanded for first contact diplomacy. Commander Rourke met her at the docking bay, a broad-shouldered man in his 40s, dark-haired, with the kind of quiet steadiness in his eyes that Vess associated with soldiers who had seen too much and made peace with it anyway. Behind him stood a small team, a woman named Dyar. Margaret Ellis, the lead scientist, and a young man named Lieutenant Cole Hargrove, sharp-eyed and carrying a data pad that glowed with constant updates. Rourke explained what had happened, simply, without theater. When the void collapse had torn open a dimensional rift 1,000 years ago, Earth had not been destroyed. It had been displaced, pulled into a pocket dimension, cut off from the galaxy entirely. No communications in or out. No faster-than-light travel. No way to call for help. So humanity had stopped trying to call for help. We had 1,000 years, Rourke said, walking Vess through a corridor that hummed with ambient energy she couldn't identify. No wars with alien empires. No resource competition. No political interference. He glanced at her sideways. Just us, a planet, and a problem to solve. Dr. Ellis picked up the explanation. We cracked zero-point energy in year 240. Achieved pocket dimension navigation by year 500. The rings you saw outside, those are dimensional anchors. We built them to stabilize our return and to ensure we could never be displaced again. You built them to ensure you could never be attacked again, Vess said. Ellis smiled. We prefer the first framing. The Keth Empire moved first, as empires always do when they sense vulnerability in a reunion. 300 Keth warships arrived at Sol's border 48 hours after the Conclave fleet. Senator Dravik's transmission was simple: Earth would submit to Keth authority or be destroyed. Rourke's response was equally simple. He activated one ring. A single-dimensional pulse rippled outward, not a weapon, not an explosion. It simply moved the Keth fleet. 300 warships, deposited safely but firmly at the far edge of the galaxy, 60,000 light-years away. Unharmed. Humiliated. The message to the conclave was delivered by Lieutenant Hargrove with the calm efficiency of a man reading a weather report. Earth is not returning to the galactic conclave as a member. Earth is returning as a guarantor of peace. We will not be ruled. We will not be threatened. But we will protect the small, the weak, and the forgotten. Because we remember what it felt like to be all three. For 3 days, the conclave chamber was silent in a way it had never been before. Not the silence of shock. The silence of recalibration. Every empire in the galaxy ran the same quiet calculation: can we defeat them? Every empire reached the same quiet answer. On the 4th day, Ambassador Vess, no longer merely an admiral, her role had changed the moment she'd shaken Rourke's hand, addressed the full conclave on behalf of Earth. Humanity spent 1,000 years alone, she told them, her voice steady. We did not emerge bitter. We did not emerge vengeful. We emerged ready. She let that word settle like a stone dropped into still water. The age of empires dominating the weak ends today. Not because Earth demands it. Because Earth will simply ensure it. Outside the station, Earth's rings hummed in their orbits. Quiet. Patient. Immovable. Humanity had returned. And the galaxy would never be the same again.